A very good evening and welcome to yet another edition of Weekend Primetime News. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines tonight.
Cricket commentator Tony Greig passes away. Microorganisms found in the red rain samples. Are they from outer space? Over 38,000 persons affected by the inclement weather still at relief centres. The Indian girl who was savagely raped dies in Singapore.
The Disaster Management Centre says that over 38,000 people still continue to remain in 244 temporary shelters as a result of flash floods and landslides. Over 18,000 families have been affected in the Mannar district alone.
As a result of the floods, many roads in the Mannar district have been inundated, disrupting transportation. Mannar district secretary Sarath Ravindra Jayasuriya said that the flood waters in several areas have not been receded. Over 3,000 families have been affected in the Mullaitivu district. The district secretary said that the transportation along the Mullaitivu-Jaffna road and the Mullaitivu-Mankulam road was disrupted. Over 4,000 persons are housed at 26 camps in the Kilinochchi district. This was confirmed by the district secretary Rupavati Ketishwaran. Meanwhile, all 11 spill gates of the Kaudulla tank in Polonnaruwa have been opened and the water from the tank is flowing through the Kahambiliya Oya. Therefore, houses and cultivations on the inside of the Kahambiliya Oya have been inundated. A total of 11 spill gates of the Rajangane Reservoir have been opened. Irrigation engineer of the Rajangane Reservoir, Andro Kongedru, said that 21,450 cubic feet of water is being released per second from its spill gates that have been opened by 8 inches each. Our correspondent noted that this has resulted in flood waters increasing in the Eluwan-Kulama and the Pahala Eluwan-Kulama areas that are in path of the Kalawe. Thereby measures were taken to evacuate residents to higher ground by boat. Meanwhile, the 4 spill gates of the Kalawewa that were opened by 17 feet each have been closed by 4 feet each.
Professor Godfrey Louise of the Cochin University of Sciences and Technology says the tests conducted so far have confirmed that the microorganisms found in the red rain samples obtained from Kerala, India are from outer space. In an exclusive interview with News First, Professor Godfrey said that similar characteristics can be identified in the red rain samples obtained from Sri Lanka and from Kerala, India.
Professor Godfrey Louise conducted tests and research on the red rains that fell to Kerala, India over a decade ago. Facts that he uncovered about the microorganism that was found in the red rain samples have been presented at numerous conventions and publications.
The reason we have proposed is that these must have come from fragments of a comet, and these microbes are having extraordinary ability to withstand high temperature, and they are very special kind of microorganisms which we find in this red rain. And some 50 tons of this material has fallen in Kerala according to our estimate. So huge quantity of it has come from, and no terrestrial source is identified. We have been proposing these ideas from that point onwards.
However, the professor said that the red rains will not harm the human skin.
We have not noticed any serious complaints which affects the people, and some people may have experienced some itching problem, but generally there are no reactions. Nothing could be connected with the red rain, any disease.
Several areas in Sri Lanka experienced red rains recently.
I find the same thing happening in Sri Lanka now. In very distant parts along the Sri Lanka, the same thing is happening, and the characteristics is very similar. The duration of the red rain is some 15-20 minutes, and it happens during a normal rain. So it all matches, and I have seen some images of the cells of Sri Lanka, and which is exactly same as the Kerala red rain cells.
Professor Chandra Vikramasinghe, the director of the Buckingham Centre for Astrobiology, recently expressed a similar view.
That we have been looking at for a long time from Kerala is the high amounts of silver and arsenic that is present in these cells. And that's surprising, and it's not, these are rare materials, rare elements, chemical elements on Earth. But
we are very happy to cooperate with any investigation in Sri Lanka, definitely, and if you would definitely conduct more studies on that, and any help from our side is we can offer with the Sri Lankan scientists, and we can work together on this problem. Some biological cells come from space, and this cannot be ruled out. Many think that it is a common algae, which is wrong, because all the analysis we have done, and definitely since this has repeated now in Sri Lanka, it can undergo more studies in other laboratories, and it will be more clear with this investigation on this.
Meanwhile, almost all tanks in the Rajarat area have reached spill level. This has affected farmland and houses belonging to the farmer communities. Now, is the heavy downpours experienced to be blamed for this, or is it the poor water management?
These farmers are protesting because the tank that enriched their crops broke its banks due to the rising water levels. The Kaudulla reservoir in Galebindru River broke its banks for the second time yesterday. On the 4th of February 2012, the reservoir overflowed and the farmers charged that the renovation work was not done in a proper manner. The authorities have failed to rectify this. Because of that, the tank had broken its banks. Farmers say that as a result, over 5,000 acres of paddy fields have been damaged. The farmers depend on water. We might perish because of this. Meanwhile, the banks of the Ehatu River in Galgamur is at risk of reaching its spill level. The Jampati tank in Nattavilluwa in Putlam is also at risk. In June this year, a large number of crops were destroyed when tanks dried up during the drought. Over the past few days, cultivation and homes have been destroyed by floods. The spill gates are opened when the tank is about to overflow. There is no tank in the world that can hold such a capacity of water after unexpected rains. Furthermore, the subject minister emphasized that the spill gates are not open for political gains. There is no need to open any of the spill gates for political gains. As a policy, excess water is being released from the tanks once the capacity is reached.
Former England cricket captain and renowned cricket commentator Tony Greig passed away today. Tony Greig was 66 years old at the time of his demise.
Well, I mean, look, it's not good, Mark. The truth is I've got lung cancer, and it's now just a question of what they can do. And I had a very important meeting with my doctor this morning, and I'm going in on Monday for a Tuesday operation. So a major operation on Tuesday, so I'll be in hospital for at least a week, and then we'll start the fight back after that. Once we've done this operation, or once they've done the operation, the plan is to embark upon some chemotherapy to see if we can, make a bit of a dent in this little bit of a setback that I've had. But basically, they're going to go into this right side, have a good look around, and see if they can see exactly what's happening inside that right lung of mine, and see if they can fix it up. It's been look, I tell you, it's been an incredible, very short journey so far. But you've no idea, and you guys will all face it one day, I'm sure. But you've no idea how much one misses getting to the cricket on a day like today. When you've been doing it for 33 years, it's just absolutely unbelievable. Even my little bloke who came home from school today was, almost, Dad, what are you doing at home? I mean, you shouldn't be here, So it takes a little bit of getting used to, and I'm sure it's going to get worse as this test match goes on, because I think we've got a really good test match on our hands, and indeed a good series and a good summer.
Tony Greig, who shared about the condition of his health on the 9th of last month and hoped that he would be fit to return to work, could not fight for his life.
Plays himself.
Yes, the golf block is full and we're going to see some Condi shot there today.
Having exerted an influence on the game with his joyful commentaries, he passed away at around 8:15 Sri Lankan time this morning. The commentator passed away after he was rushed to the St. Vincent's Hospital in Sydney while receiving treatment for lung cancer he was diagnosed with around 2 months ago. He passed away 2 hours upon admittance to the hospital. Anthony William Haig, commonly known by the cricketing world as Tony Greig, was born in Cape Town, South Africa in 1946. Beginning his career as an all-rounder for England in 1972, he played 58 tests and scored 3,599 runs and claimed 141 wickets to his name with his off-spin. Playing 14 tests as captain, he gave up captaincy in the year 1977.
A particular contest. One would have thought that the captain who won the toss would bat first, because that seems to be the way to play these one-day games. But then again, there has been
Tony Greig had a very close relationship with the Sri Lankan cricket team. His commentaries at the time Sri Lanka won the World Cup in 1996 did not only bring confidence to the Lankan fans, but also to the Sri Lankan players.
What a year it's been for him. Distraught at one end of his season. And here
Captain Cool, Master Blaster and Little Kalu were few of the terms he came up for the Lankan players. Tony Greig also assisted in several radio and television programs for MTV MBC networks.
Colleagues, and the two colleagues that I've got with me this morning, well, I think if we had a popularity poll in Pakistan and we held one here in Sri Lanka as well, these two guys would come up top of the pops. You know who I'm talking about, Ramiz Raja from Pakistan and Ranjit Fernando from Sri Lanka.
Greig's first illness arrived in mid-year as a bout of bronchitis, showed unusual stubbornness, and while commentating in the UAE and then the World 2020 in Sri Lanka, he was moved to undergo a test that uncovered a lesion in his right lung. Subsequent to the examinations and operations that revealed the extent of the cancer, he shared these views with News First.
Well, as everyone knows, Sri Lanka is very dear to my heart. I have a relationship that goes back a long way, just to that period, just to before that wonderful victory in the 1996 World Cup, when I predicted that they would win, because I thought they'd just played such wonderful cricket and were such lovely characters. You've no idea what it means to me to have received the support that I have from so many Sri Lankans in so many different ways since the announcement of my illness. It's a very special feeling in the heart of someone to know that there's a nation of cricket lovers like the Sri Lankans, you know, who care about an individual like myself. I'm so grateful for that and for all your prayers. Thank you so much.
Tony Greig, an excellent cricketer, a joyful commentator and a dear friend. You will always be remembered.